Greetings, everyone. Facebook Live time once again. R. Christian Minson here, coming to you away from Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, but representing Rhythmia in Costa Rica, Guanacaste, Costa Rica, where it's nice and warm. Where I am today is quite cool-ish, up in the Great White North of Canada. So we're just going to spend a few minutes getting people on, a few people on. When you're on, wave to me with your hearts and likes, and or tell me where you're from. Tell me what's going on, and we'll get started in a minute. If you're listening to this as a recording, wait until about 4 or 5 minutes. You can skip ahead 4 or 5 minutes, and that's when we always get into the content. Until then, I'm just going to say hi, Celeste. Hi, Martin. Hi, Gord. And welcome to the show. If we will. Whoops, do we want to delete? No. It's still going on. Okay, sorry, I pressed something that almost got me out. Claudia, how are you doing? Jennifer, Sean, right? That's how you pronounce that. From Ireland. Top of the morning to you. Right here, it's afternoon. And all right, now I got some likes and hearts and oh no's and some angry faces. Kevin Peterson, hey, welcome. And Karen, coming in April, beautiful. When in April, Karen? My birthday's in April, so maybe you can celebrate with me. Amy Stevens from Missouri. Martin, hey there, Martin, coming in. Jennifer Reynolds, hi, Jennifer. Excellent. Lots of names I'm recognizing. A few new peoples online. So Rhythmia has been offline for this past week, and all of us have gotten away. We just give the space a little bit of breathing room and get into all of the, just let us all relax a little bit. It's pretty intense day in and day out to go through this transformational experience, even though we're just facilitating it. Melissa, hi from Florida. Sean, coming from Ireland in April. Beautiful. When in April? Again, that's my birthday. April 9. So if you're here then, we shall celebrate. And, Karen saying coming in April 28th. So only missed a birthday, but really, I subscribe to the way of thinking where you celebrate your birthday month, basically. So it's not just a day of celebration, but a whole month's worth. So all of April, as far as I'm concerned, is my birthday celebration. So let's keep on going there. Melissa, you met Candice last night. Are you in Florida right now? And John is coming 14th of April. So same thing there. You'll have missed my actual birthday, but you'll still be there right in the middle of my birthday month. Month of celebration. We're getting more people. All right. Got some likes and hearts and angry faces and oh no faces. I don't know who sends those, but we're getting up to, we got about our allotted amount of people. We're coming on 4 minutes. I'll just give it a few more seconds to get us on. Say hi, Jennifer. That's your husband's birthday too. April 9th. I've never met anybody who has the same birthday as me. As interesting as it sounds, I've seen people who are like dozens of people who have the same birthday, but never met somebody who had the same birthday as me. So we'll have to talk. When are you coming to Rhythmia, Jennifer? Anyway, here we go. Karen, birthday month is always a good thing. That's right. Especially as you get older, you need a lot more support in celebrating. Glenn J. Adams, hey there, from Costa Rica. Yep, there you are. Beautiful. All right, so here we go. Welcome everybody officially to the Breathwork edition of Facebook Live, happening every Friday, more or less. I'm your host this Facebook Live, R. Christian Minson, Director of Breathwork at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I'm a certified transformational breath facilitator for the last 12 years. senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation, former monk of 10 years. I'm a speaker, author, and ultimately an internet coach, your catalyst for evolution and awakening. So here I am today to talk about the hero's journey. The hero's journey, a concept really put together by Joseph Campbell. If you want to look it up in more detail, this is just a quick interview of basically quick overview, shall I say, of what it is, how it applies to your life and your particular journey. So that's, this isn't really about getting into the depths of the hero journey and how he describes it, though, there's some depth here, but really how it relates to your life. This is essentially my purpose in all my Facebook Live subjects, is to get into how this can really apply to you, how this can help evolve your life, transform your life. As I said, I'm a catalyst here to help you move forward in your next step of evolution. And because evolution is really the name of the game, and this is why we're talking about this subject too. There's an inherent drive within each of us to discover our fullest potential, to actualize that potential, and then share those unique gifts with all of those around us. And this kind of relates to the subject I was talking about last week, which was your life is your path. So these two Facebook Lives can really go well together. If you watch this one, then you go back and watch the other one, or if you were here last week and you watched that one, then this one will just dovetail nicely into that. Sarah is here, and John Scott, excellent, and Mary Ann and Melissa. Oh yeah, you live in St. Pete. That's, yeah, excellent. So let's get started here, shall we? The hero's journey. So what is this? It's really, as I said, it's a concept that was created, or at least brought together by man and author, a very enlightened soul named Joseph Campbell. And really what it is to me is it's a map of sorts. It's a map that's guiding us through the journey of awakening and practical application of that awakening. So, if you think about it, you're on a journey, say you're going from New York to Los Angeles. You could kind of just start off and figure it out along the way, though. If you've ever done that before, I know sometimes my GPS malfunctions, and then I actually have to try to find my way to the place rather than just robotically follow the turns and commands of the GPS. And oftentimes, especially if it's like a meeting that I need to be on time for, there's a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of stress that happens because I don't have that map, right? So a good map really helps us to not only get to our destination quicker, more efficiently, more effectively, but perhaps with less stress, less anxiety. We can relax knowing that we're at certain stages of the process or certain landmarks along the way, right? So welcome to all those who just joined. And so this is really, why, what the hero's journey is. So it's a map. It's really, let's see if I can, this may cause me to, I don't know if we can see this. See here, this comes to us compliments of the folks at Spirit Science, who were our guest speakers last week. This is what inspired me to do this topic too. Was it just last week that they were there? 1 or 2 weeks ago. As you can see, the hero's journey is kind of a circular path. As you go down this side here, you're leaving the known and you're going into the unknown. You have your adventures, you have your transformation, and then as you come back up this side, you really ultimately end up returning back home, back from the unknown to the known. Only you are a new person able to share your wisdom and guidance with everybody in the world. So let me get back here. So this is the basic flow, you know, a circle of life. Here you are, you know, sitting in the known, being in your same old doldrums of life, and kind of feeling dissatisfied, feeling this urge to grow, this urge to know more. Then you know, you might feel this lack of purpose and a lack of really embodying your power. So there's this call, this drive to seek more, and that starts you on the path. You venture from the fold, you know, the fold of the known, the safety of family, friends, environment that you've been in forever, and you venture into the unknown. You're meeting new people. You are in new environments, trying out new things. And, you know, all that sometimes is good, sometimes is a challenge, but it's through the series of challenges that you go through along this path that you learn more about yourself. You learn to rise to the occasion. You learn new skills that you never thought you had. You meet people along the way who help build your skills. And at some point, there is this shift, this transformation. We might call it a death and a rebirth, because you essentially die to your old self. You let go of that old self, that limited self that you thought you were, and you embrace this new identity, which then, once you're there, you ultimately, to make a long story short, realize that oftentimes the people who need you most are your people, the people that you traveled away from in the first place. So you go through this, what might be called an atonement, which is to return back to your fold, back to the known, back to the same old place where you came from, essentially. But now you're transformed. Now you are the master to teach the others, or now you have some skill or some ability to help support that environment. And that is that circle of life. You come back full circle. Let's see what people are saying. My hero's journey began junior high when my mom got me into Santeria. I was scared and first refused the call. Once I surrendered, my life has been an adventurous spirit. No longer follow any religion, but try to learn from all. Excellent, Diana. And this is really what we're talking about, is how, you know, how this hero's journey really applies to you. I think this may be one of the more fun Facebook Lives that I've done. At least it's fun putting it together. Debbie's coming in April. Lily giving Erica a shout out to try to get online here. Melissa, that's where I'm at. Meeting new people, trying new things. Excellent. Rick, my business in helping others, my passion, and it's been created as we speak. I found my calling and I vibrate and purr when I'm thinking of it. Excellent, Rick. And Siddha joined. Hello, how are you doing? All right, so back to it. So I thought we'd go through some of the steps of the hero's journey, that we do it in using the example first. Many movies, many books and things like that have been based around this. Lord of the Rings being one of the biggies, Star Wars being another one, and that really, I grew up in the Star Wars era. I can still remember seeing the first movie in the theaters, and you know how I think I went and finally saw that movie about 13, 15 times. Now, you know, over the years, probably another half a dozen, but really just engrossed in this because it spoke to my soul at some level, because again, it was really embodying this hero's journey, this journey that really is inherent within all of us, and we're almost compelled into it. So I thought I'd give the example along the way of that. Then I'd retrace the steps on my own journey and show you how it can apply to each and every one of this. And ultimately, to let the cat out of the bag, to challenge you to start to see where your life has taken this hero's journey, or where you maybe are along the path seeing that your journey has already begun, or if you really haven't taken it yet, seeing, maybe giving you the inspiration to finally take those steps into your journey. All right, the yin yang journey is becoming full circle. Thanks, Rick. Gord coming down. All right, let me know, Gord, when you're here. Introduce yourself, Diane. Star Wars, yes. The hero's journey, and the journey is a journey that never ends. I've gone through it my entire life. Yeah, Jesse, that's pretty much where we're leading. So you're on the right track. Self-proclaimed Jedi here, so I totally get it. Excellent. And I was related most to Luke Skywalker. Huge Star Wars fan for a long time. I was always a Han Solo fan myself. He's he went through his own hero's journey, but of course Luke was the main character, and this is who we're talking about. So the first step is, here you are in your normal environment. Luke was a farmer on Tatooine. He I don't even remember what they're farming, if that even was part of it. But he had this warrior spirit. He wanted to join the academy, fight for rightness. So here he was. He's seeking his purpose. It's this call to adventure. Then there's this refusal of the call. I remember in the movie, he sits down with his uncle, and his uncle said, you're a farmer. You got to stay here. You just one more season, then you can go to the academy, right? And so, reluctantly he stays. But then there's some supernatural aid that comes in. In this case, was kind of a negative aid, in that the stormtroopers, the bad guys, basically came in looking for the lost droids, R2-D2 and C-3PO, and they basically annihilated everything in their path, which included his uncle and his aunt and his whole farming hut and all that. So when he came back and saw that it was everything that he had lived for to that point was destroyed, that sort of gave him the aid to go ahead and start his journey. So he and Obi-Wan Kenobi did the crossover. This is really, so the crossover is, here we are in the known, and now the crossover starts you on the journey into the unknown. This is really where, we go into our initiation. We begin the process of discovering who we are at a deeper level. So, basically, Luke was on a mission with Obi-Wan Kenobi to help find Princess Leia, to find and rescue the princess. So, then there's a road of trials, basically. So, in Star Wars, it was all the things that happened for them to get to the Death Star, right? They go to the main town. They go into the bar looking for a pilot, where they meet Han Solo. There's trouble in the bar, and Luke learns that all characters aren't so nice, and then they they get stopped by the stormtroopers and learn Obi-Wan Kenobi has this Jedi mind trick power to get to get his way. Basically, they get on the Millennium Falcon. They got to escape because they found out about him. They get out there. They're looking for the planet that they're supposed to land on, and when they arrive, the planet is nothing but a bunch of rubble because the Death Star had just blown it to smithereens. They see the Death Star, they get caught in the tractor beam, so on and so forth, all the way up to Luke finally meeting the princess inside and trying to rescue her. So this is the road of trials. And the next is the meeting the goddess, which is when Luke finds Princess Leia's cell, and he opens up, and he's stormtrooper said, "You're a little short to be a stormtrooper, aren't you?" And then he pulls off his hat, said, "I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you." She's like, "What?" And so on and so forth. They get out of the Death Star, basically. That's the meeting of the goddess. Then, this moves into the other movies, but then there's a temptation, the abyss. In Luke's case, it was come to the dark side. Luke, I am your father. When he finds out that Darth Vader, the main antagonist in the series of movies, is actually Luke's father, and he's coaxing him to the dark side. So this is the temptation. Then there's the ordeal, to go or not. Here he is. I mean, he's been developing this power now to essentially fight Darth Vader, and now he finds out Darth Vader is his father. Now, should he go there and rule the galaxy with his old man, or should he be stay firm and fight against him? So there's this ordeal going on. Then there's the elixir, so to speak, the secret power. And in this case, I would call it Yoda's teachings. When Luke Skywalker goes and finds Yoda, and through a series of events, Yoda eventually agrees to teach him the ways of the Jedi, right? So this is the elixir. This is the magic power that Luke is beginning to develop, basically administered through Yoda and his teachings. Then there's the transformation, right? The transformation is really the death and rebirth. Finally, Luke becomes a Jedi, right? He finishes his training, and he's a full-on, secure, knows what he needs to do, knows his purpose, knows his place in life, and he's sort of died to the old Luke. He's no longer that little timid boy farmer, that wishful thinker and all that. Now he's a man on purpose, and his purpose is to save the universe. And then this is where it begins the return, right? So, and in the return is first the refusal to return. And here again, where he really has to face his father for the final time. And it's like, do I stay or do I go? He finally defeats his father. And then there is the atonement, where he's faced his father, he's overcome, and then he's heading back into, crosses the threshold of the unknown back into the known, which is that he's now the master of both worlds, the known and the unknown. And he has the freedom to live, basically, that he's back with his people, back with the rebels, but now he's back at a status of master, a status of protector, status of the one who blew up the freaking Death Star. So he's got some credentials now, and he's much more self-secure and much more on point with his mission. Okay, so this is really the journey. Let me tune in with some things that people are saying. Lily, hey Lily. I feel my journey started at 18 years old when my boyfriend committed suicide. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. My whole life was shattered, and I've been on a journey of recovery in my true self and high self ever since. Excellent on that. And yeah, sometimes, those trials and tribulations, which is the, essentially, going into the unknown, the ordeal that you have to deal with. And that's, suicide is one of the biggest ordeals. Unfortunately, it's quite common for us, for people to be survivors of suicide, and that being part of the ordeal that propels you into seeking deeper purpose and meaning. Rose joined. Dia, hi there. Rose, Lily, I had similar circumstances at a young age. Know that he's with you, helping you to fulfill your life's path. Yeah, good. And Melanie Klinghoffer joined. Hey there, Melanie. All right. So basically, we're all going through this journey. It may not be so dramatic. Of course, the movies, are bold drama, full of shoot 'em ups and speeding ships and all that kind of stuff. It's, it's meant to entertain. It's meant to enthrall you. But the core of it is deep within each of our hearts. And so the flow really goes. You're dissatisfied with the known. You feel like the lack of your purpose and power. You have this call to seek more. So you venture, you finally choose to break away from what you've always known and start seeking something deeper, something higher, something more fulfilling. Through a series of challenges, you learn about yourself. You meet people that are going to help you. You learn skills. At some point, then, you reach the transformation. You die to your old self and you embody this new self, mastering of yourself. And then you recognize that the people who need you most are your people, the people that you came from to begin with. And so you return back to reintegrate, but now as an empowered being. Okay, so so let me give you this again. You know, I did this. It was a great exercise for myself. And I want, as you hear me do this on my path, I want you to start thinking about your own path. And again, have you gone through this already? And like, who was it? Jesse, I think it was Jesse who was saying he's done this, I don't know how many times, but again and again. And really this is life, is the circle. The circle is one cycle, right? A circle is a cycle. What do you do at the end of a cycle? You start another cycle. And when you come to that one, you start another one. This is the process of evolution, going through cycle of birth and rebirth, coming up to the next one, birth and rebirth, raising up again, going through that, continuing to evolve perpetually. So, let's see what Karen says. Mine started 10 years ago in a car accident. It changed my life. Messages from the other side have brought me here. Excellent. Excellent, Karen. And while we're going through this, think about these various stage points, and then you can really review them. Go back later and review this one again, and see, because there's information at each of these stage points. If you could say where you are when the first one is the call to adventure. So let's say for me, at a young age and really strongly in my teens, as I graduated high school and went into college, I was really seeking purpose, seeking the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and that that got me on a spiritual path. Then the second was refusing the call. So around somewhere mid-college, I received the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, the spiritual master whose order I eventually became a monk in. But at that time, I was probably about 18, 19. I still had about 10 years of debaucherous living to go through before I finally really woke up and took the reins. So this was the refusal to call. I got the call at an early age, but I was kind of like, I still want to fulfill my desires. I haven't reached rock bottom yet, is basically what I was saying. And it happened in 10 years' time. So then supernatural aid comes. For me, I got these dreams of Yogananda. I'd never had them before. I've never had them since. But during this time of pushing me into the unknown, I got these dreams of Yogananda. One where he called me and he said, "Will you join my monastic order?" And I was like, "What? Sure, I'll do that." Another one where I was walking along with him, hand in hand, and one of the other senior monks who was my advisor before I actually joined into the order. We were all walking together, and I got an interpretation of that from the monks that I was walking with Yogananda, walking his path. So that was the supernatural aid. Then it's the crossing over, right? Going into the unknown. So I signed on the dotted line, signed my life away, if you will. I joined the monastic order, and that took me into the special world, the unknown. This was my initiation, and so there's the road of trials now. For me, as a monk, it's learning how to tame your temptations, your sensory temptations, learning how to eat with a little bit of restraint, learning how to, of course, we were celibate as monks, so we really had to control that life force energy. We learned how to still the body, to still the mind, to reach higher levels of conscious awareness through meditation. So all of this was the road of trials, basically. Then, the meeting the goddess. I would say for me, these were special meditation experiences where I really had a deep God connection, where I got deep downloads of information, or what I would say more than anything was just a deep experiential sense of knowing God was with me. I am God. God is me. God is all of us, and that clearly understanding on a cellular level the purpose and what we call meaning of all this craziness that's going on around us. All right, so that's the meeting of the goddess. Then there's the temptation, of course, as a monk, women, wine, name and fame, wanting to, this urge to want to get out there and do something rather than the quote unquote boring life of meditation service day in and day out. And and then the ordeal. I started to get this inner voice talking to me that it was time to go. The ordeal was going back and forth, this struggle. Should I stay in this commitment that I've made, ideally for the rest of my life, or do I choose to follow this voice that's telling me to go? Then there's the elixir, the magic that comes in to help. And for me, this actually was the transformational breath process, the breath work that I now teach. It came in at a critical time to help me to basically make my decision, to help me get in alignment with what my core motivation really was. And that led to my transformation, the choice to leave, to no longer be a monk, but to leave and return to the world. So this starts the upward cycle at the bottom part of the unknown, the return, basically. I mean, literally, I was returning to the world, and so I was facing this return. Let's see what comes next. There's the refusal to return. So at some point, there was a struggle. Do I stay? Do I go? Wrote out a pros and cons list. There were more pros for staying than there were for leaving, at least at that stage of the game. But still, this inner voice was calling me. And then the atonement, basically, finally making the commitment to return and return into the world, return back to my friends and family, return and start to apply the wisdom that I had here. And then, returning back into the known, going back into the ordinary world, as Joseph Campbell calls it. I'm the master of the two worlds, right? I'm back. I'm just an ordinary guy, but under the surface is all of this experience and knowledge of this great spiritual journey and adventure, learning basically my purpose, learning my place, and learning what a little bit about what everybody needs to be propelled on their own path. And so, so I'm back doing the same things as I did before, but with this deeper inner wisdom and knowledge, this sense of purpose that drives my activities and actions. Right? So there I am, full circle. I could probably break down each of those little segments. Becoming a monk could have been one whole hero's journey. And then going from monk out of monk could have been another. And now, going from being a breath worker for 10 years to getting the opportunity to work at Rhythmia and having to let go of everything that I've been building all that time in order to embrace something that was a big unknown. Any of these could be sort of sub-circles of this whole journey. I'm getting a lot of comments, so let's see what people are saying. Melanie is giving me all the spiritual icons. I'll take that as a thumbs up. Lindsay Kaufman joined. Hey there, Lindsay. Tiago, hi. Gordon, nice. Michelle, yes, refusing the call. That happened to me too at an early age. And typically it happens to us all. That's why it's part of this hero's journey. That's what's so great, is it's a map of our lives. And like all maps, they don't necessarily tell the full story. But as you heard me here now, ideally you've seen where you've gone through this at least once or twice, or in your current situation, how you see where you are on this. Perhaps you're in that dead-end job, or maybe that job that's making lots of money and has lots of opportunities, but you feel miserable because you know there's something more than materiality that's calling you. And so this may be it, to finally say, I've got to jump. I've got to take a jump and make this happen. See, Yogananda, Om Suguru. Hey, Scott, are you a disciple of Yogananda? 2 thumbs up if you are. Gord Barrett, bro, you know about Rhythmia? I'm going in April. Come with. Who are you talking to? If you're talking to me, of course. Oh, Tommy, I see. There you go. Yep, you guys get it together and come together. Thomas, I just saw you following this, and it got me interested. I'm still in BC. All right, Thomas. Well, the next step is to go from BC to Guanacaste, Costa Rica, where Rhythmia is located. Gord, when are you coming home? I'll tell you all about it. Okay, that's Gordon, Tommy talking. Scott, yes, we are gods. Beautiful. Course in Miracles, Marianne talks about. That's a great guiding roadmap, essentially. Many of them out there. That's one that's really powerful. Thomas, not sure yet. All right, this again, they're talking back and forth. Danielle, lots of colorful hearts. Julia, thanks for the hearts, Jill. In Kansas City, Melissa, yes. Melanie, I'm currently reading The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. My jaw dropped when I saw your topic today. We're very in tune. It seems like that happens on a regular basis now there, Melanie. So right on. Looking forward to talking with you. John, any thoughts on the hero's journey in the 7-year cycle? Yeah, I'd say if you really look at it, you probably can put the two together. You're probably going through a type of hero's journey in every 7-year cycle. And what my understanding of the 7-year cycle is that, something that we start generally typically has a 7-year period before we feel like, we might get a job, and we might work that job for around 7 years before there's this itch. They call it the 7-year itch to move on. And it happens in relationships, happens in work, it happens in your life, the fun things you do in life. You're active in them about 7 years, and then something new comes up. So I would say that the two roughly can be put together. So the best advice I can give is take all these elements of the hero journey, take what you know as your 7-year cycles, and see if you see the different elements that happened that brought one cycle to completion in the course of about 7 years. John Scott, I'm still working on stilling the minds. I can't hear. That's it. Well, that's that's about the noblest endeavor that we can work on. And if I'm going to give you a little hint that it's not something that just comes and stills. My experience, and this comes from many years of meditating as a monk, 4.5 hours each day, and then of course meditating before and after being a monk, that I found that the mind rarely stills, as in all this chatter finally just stops. But what happens is I start to feel anyway that that the chatter, which will come on in and then usually sit here and engage me, comes on in, and I just kind of notice it and watch it go on out. It's like this river flowing through, river of consciousness flowing through your head, that you really don't want to pay attention to. You just notice it's there, and you just you let it be in the background while you focus on the flower of realization that's sitting right at the banks of that river. All right, so hopefully that helps. That sometimes it's that shift in perspective on what we're trying to do. So many people say, I can't still my mind. I can't still my mind. And perhaps it's because you're looking at it from that perspective that you think it's going to just stop. But thoughts, we don't really have thoughts. We really allow thoughts to enter our consciousness, and then we grab onto them and we identify with them. So it's really learning to let go of that grabbing process. So here come the thoughts you want to grab. No, just let them pass on by. Let them pass on by while you focus on something more important. What's your beliefs? I just said that a little bit. I believe in the oneness of all beings. I believe that love and freedom are our highest callings. That I believe that life is a perpetual evolution to greater love and greater freedom, and that each one of us is a reflection of each other, helping us along the way to achieve that state of greatness. In a nutshell, I believe a lot more, but that's it. Tiago, we have to do what we love. A job that we love is very important. That's there is, and I would say that either do what you love or learn to love what you do. Yeah, it can go both ways. Ultimately, in the end, everything is part of our process, and that got a few hearts. So hopefully that meant something to some of you. Most of the people don't love their job. Yeah, that's true. What's your view on telepathy and astral projection with others during the hero's journey? Well, that I'd say that off the cuff would be part of the diving into the unknown. So here you are in the known. The known is the mundane. The known is the fold. The known is do what you're told and do what your ancestors did and just stay put. And then as you get into your discoveries, your trials and tribulations, the meetings of people, you learn. Your consciousness of who you are starts to expand. Your consciousness of what you're able to do. The realization, if we get back to my beliefs here, the realization that we're all one starts to really actually take tangible hold in you. And from that perspective, if we are all one, we're really all just interconnected parts of the same being. Think about your body, how your brain communicates with your muscles, or your brain communicates with your heart to regulate it. These are different parts communicating somehow. So, you as an individual could communicate with somebody halfway across the world telepathically as different parts of the same whole. And, usually in the hero's journey, we usually meet people, we meet teachers, we meet mentors. Those are people who have powers greater than us, whether it's powers in business, powers in relationship, powers in astral phenomena like telepathy and astral projection and all that. So that's where I feel that all leads to. Hopefully that helps there, Melanie. How can we get past the hate and work together for a better future? I would say love your neighbor as you would have them love you, as Christ would say, right? Really do. Sorry if you hear noise about there. I'm actually in a snowy country and it sounds like snow blowers are working. So love and recognize that what you're hating is really just a reflection. It's a mirror of something in you. And likely what you're hating is something unresolved within you that you've projected on another individual. When you can solve that hate, when you can come to terms with it within you, oftentimes all of a sudden that person no longer seems so bad or seems so evil. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Terrence. I believe I have a sandwich. Great, Cliff. Terrence, it starts from home. Our kids are the future. We have to invest in our poor communities. Well, there you go. That's the hero's journey in a nutshell. You leave the poor community, you escape. You're like, I hate this. I'm out of here. I'm never coming back. Never looking back. You become a rock star. You become a philanthropist. You become a civil engineer. You become whatever during your hero's journey. And then all of a sudden you're on the return. You're like, where can I use my powers the most? And then you wake up, oh, the place where I came from actually needs me the most of any place. And there you go, back to the poor communities, back to wherever your skills can be used. How can we find the job that makes us blissful? Keep searching. First of all, just identify with what makes you blissful, right? I mean, what makes you happy? Does creating make you happy? Does being with people make you happy? I have a friend who constantly tells me that, I'm being a judgy judgerson because she's a waitress. And, I sometimes feel like there's more for her to experience. And yet, she's a very people-oriented person, and that kind of role suits her very well. And who knows what kind of good she's offering to people who come in. People come into restaurants in all states of pain and suffering, and getting away from their life for temporary moments, and then she can be a ray of sunshine, and that could be the perfect role. So find out what makes you blissful. Do you like playing music? Do you like interacting with people? Do you like numbers? Do you like, and then start going, all right, what kind of occupations actually deal with those aspects of life? So hopefully that's helpful. Karen, I was in a real estate, and after the accident was guided to quantum healing hypnosis practice. Beautiful. And that's your job now. Excellent, Karen. And that's a real hero's journey, again, to go from corporate world or, very structured world to the healing world. People are like, you can never make a living being a healer, blah, 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 all this. And that's normal world thinking. You go into the unknown and you see that anything is possible. You reemerge in that world, but now, now with the understanding that you can do those kinds of things. John, stilling the mind, check. Check out the Flow Genome Project. Oh, very cool. So that may help with you too, John Scott. Flow, check out the Flow Genome Project. Not an endorsement, but I'm willing to check it out. Karen, love, that's what it is. Terrence, people look at me and they feel I'm wrong. I was told black is bad at a young age. I mix with black and white. Even workforce people didn't want me to move up my career. Why so much hate? Because people hate themselves. Bottom line. People learn to love themselves. And why do people hate themselves? Because they were taught by their people who hated themselves that that's the way it is. And unfortunately, much larger conversation, but let's just say in the cycle of the world, the hero's journey of the world, we are just coming out of a lower age. Fortunately, we're on an upward swing, and so we're learning more and more. We're learning higher age levels of relating to ourselves, relating to others, and hate is one of those things that starts to dissolve as we climb that spiritual ladder. Thanks for the hearts and likes there. Karen, Christian, glad I joined in just to hear you guys talking about love and giving. Beautiful. Only in giving do you receive, and that's true. It's a two-way street, and only in receiving do you give too. If you're empty, how can you give? So, which came first, the chicken and egg? Who knows? But we're in that process. John Scott, thanks. Tiago, reality is like a mirror. It returns what we give. Exactly what we were just talking about. And Melanie, yes, based on your response to me, I believe we're all teachers to each other at varying degrees for a multitude of reasons. Getting more into what I believe, it's amazing how we call the law of karma, where we're here to evolve, to let go of things that have been holding us back, and each of us are interwoven like a very complex web. And this person here was helped by, sorry, I can't find my fingers. this person was helped by this person, but now is helping this person. You see that the web is so intricate, it blows my mind, but I'm very much there. So, Melanie, and finally I understand we're multidimensional and often how we view someone in the past and why they came into our lives different than what our human mind could conceive at the time. Yeah, excellent. Justin, I work for DHL, and as a bouncer, I love my job, my life, but chronic pain is destroying my soul. See you at the end of April, Rhythmia time. To heal what's broken. Well, thank you, Justin. And that really gets into a lot of great comments there. I think one of the more commenty Facebook Lives I've had, which just shows me that that you guys are engaged, and that's and that's my desire to get you engaged. So where does Rhythmia and breathwork really fit into this whole process? And that's, being a Facebook Live, in support of these programs. I'd say that, when we're looking at that whole circle, when we get past the known and we start on this transformational journey, that's where a place like Rhythmia comes in, or that's where a place like working with breathwork or taking a breathwork seminar come in. This is the whole transformational part of the journey, especially that death and rebirth part. And you may feel like you're literally going through death and rebirth when you go through some of the ceremonies and journeys at Rhythmia. And it might not be comfortable, but it's an accelerated program, basically. So here we are, this hero's journey is often, read The Lord of the Rings. It's like that freaking thick. It's a lot of time that you got to go through this whole thing. Rhythmia and Jerry Powell, our CEO, has found some shortcuts in this process, and those were delivered to him divinely through plant medicine experiences. And those shortcuts are plant medicine and breath work. I'd also add meditation, but that's sort of a long-term shortcut. But plant medicine and breath work, which is what we offer at Rhythmia, are really the shortcuts to this whole transformational process. So, you go into meeting the goddess. Well, we talk about the elixir of life being that plant medicine itself. And as you take it, you come into contact with Mother Ayahuasca, which is, an embodiment of the wisdom of the earth, imbued in the earth by the gods in the traditions of the Aboriginal people of the South and Central Americas. So, there's the meeting of the goddess. There's the temptation, the abyss. What I would say here in Rhythmia speak is, we have three main intentions going into our journey. And one is learning who I've become. And this really, this roughly correlates to this whole temptation abyss part of the journey. That you learn, you learn things about you that you didn't realize maybe were so prominent in your life. You learn what's been driving you, or what the thorn in your side has been, if you weren't quite clear on that, or what kind of life experiences have been suppressed all these years to create the less than favorable circumstances of life that you might be experiencing right now. The ordeal, you get clarity, like I said, on the origin of your life struggles. And then the elixir, I already mentioned, that the plant medicine itself is quite an elixir. You drink it down, and you couldn't get more literal than that. Of course, the breath work itself is an amazing elixir, what I call an elixir of our original medicine, our oxygen or pranic energy, the life force energy that we consume with every breath we take is essentially the elixir of life. So, and ultimately then the transformation, as we said, moving from death of your old self, letting go of those old stories, letting go of the source that may be causing pain emotionally, actually could even be causing physical pain, could be causing spiritual deadening. We're letting go of all that. we're dying to all that, and we're being reborn. And this, in Rhythmia speak, are the last two intentions: to merge yourself with your soul and to heal your heart, to repair or renew your heart so that you can go back into the world again. Finish the cycle, then you leave Rhythmia, you leave breathwork training, you go back into the world. Now your light is shining brighter than before, and and now it's up to you to apply that, to take that light back in the world and spread it. And then let's see what's some new comments. Only together can we change the broken system. United, yes. So people are afraid of what they don't understand. Kids are the future, not the companies. I'd say people are our future, and corporations are not people. Can you lose ego, or is it necessary to have to move through life? For that answer to that in depth, I have a Facebook Live called Soul versus Ego. I want you to go find that either in the archives on Facebook, Rhythmia's Facebook page, or the archives in Rhythmia's YouTube page, Soul versus Ego. But the bottom line answer is you don't lose your ego. You never lose your ego until you lose yourself there, basically. So it is a necessary part of our process. Imagine it's like if I mentioned this in Soul versus Ego, but if you are a company, in this case, corporations aren't people, but people could be corporations here. You're a company, your soul is the CEO, but your ego is a manager. A company is not going to run efficiently or effectively without a manager. So you do away with the manager, the CEO can have all the great bright visions of success and moving forward that they can conjure, but without somebody to run the show, that company's going down. So in a nutshell, that's a metaphorical explanation of why ego stays with us and why it's important ultimately. I have an appointment with Transformation Breakfast this coming week with a person here in Tennessee. Who's in Tennessee, Mary Alice? Tell me if you can. That's my clan, basically. If we get in a positive spiral, life can go better and better. Exactly. And this is what this hero's journey cycle is. It's really a cycle of positively spiraling up into perpetually better and better evolutionary realization and attainment. Ayahuasca, let's go. Jill Diz, you joined just in time for me to say goodbye. And so did you, Anne. Mary Alice, I can't think of her. Daria. Thanks. I'll have to think about that. I remember Daria from some time back. Tell her hi from Christian and see if she remembers me. And I'd love it if you Facebooked me, messaged me your experience afterwards. I'd love it. So let's end. I'm coming up the top of the hour. I just want to end by saying, what if you took this to heart, this hero's journey, and charted your own course? I think at the very least, there'll be a certain sense of relaxation and, less stress about the journey, because you see that there's some natural things that happen in natural places where there's going to be challenges and maybe a little bit of difficulty. So you don't have to think it's the end of the world, but just part of the cycle. You may also realize how far you've actually already come and be able to give yourself a little pat on the back, feel good about yourself. You might actually already be there when you chart your course and you see that you've actually made one or more of these circle loops. And now it's just time to step up, to take those powers, to take that new you and apply it into this world. And that's where the juice and the satisfaction are really going to come. And, or you may realize that you're on one step of the path that requires some help from others at this point. You need a teacher, you need a mentor, you need somebody to help guide you to the next level. And that's where you might choose to look deeper into the Rhythmia program, or connect with me, connect with my website, breathflow.com, and and get into my rhythm. So, you know, the bottom line is that evolution is inevitable. So let yourself take your own hero's journey and embrace the power of your own inner light. So with that, I'm going to sign off today. R. Christian Minson here. If you want to friend me on Facebook, feel free. But if you want me to actually accept that friend request, make sure you send your request with a message that says you met me here on Facebook Live and why you want to be friends, all right? I almost instantaneously accept those friend requests. If you don't include a message, there's about 100 people I've still got to get to. And I don't just friend people until I've vetted them out. So with that, namaste. We'll see you next week. Hopefully this was helpful. And go out there and be heroic.